Hi, this is Philip, and this is part three of how I assemble my table tennis racket, or anyone's table tennis racket. Okay, so the blade is here. It's sealed. It's been a day, and right now everything is smooth, super smooth. Please watch part one of how I prepared this. And now the rubbers are here as well. It's boosted. A little bit of curl, not that much, because only one layer. Please watch part two on how I prepared this. So, attaching the rubber on the blade, especially when it's sealed, it's a bit hard because this is super smooth, and it's very easy for the rubber to peel off, especially if you have a very boosted Hurricane 3, right? So one way to make sure the rubber attaches on the blade very well is to use a 400 to 600 grit sandpaper and just lightly sand it down, right? So this is what we're gonna do to ensure get the light source going, to ensure the rubber attaches on the blade and it's really on there, right? So just lightly sand it over the sealed surface of the paddle. I like to go along with the grain, like I said before. You want to sand the edges a little bit, just tiny bit harder, not that much harder. You don't want to make the blade round, like the edges rounded. That's messed up. It's uneven. So you just want to make sure you sand everywhere, especially the edges a little bit. And for the better adhesion, especially on the edges, right? It's where it's most likely to peel off. So you can see I'm not taking too much of the top ply out. Look how little this is, right? And then you blow on it, wipe it off with your pants or a towel, whatever. Yeah, so now you can see that this is a little bit rougher, but it's still very even, and you can see the coating is still on the blade. So same thing for the backside of this blade. Gently sand it. This evens out if you have uneven sealant as well, if you didn't spread it evenly, but if you use my method, it should be very even. All right, get the edges a little bit more, just lightly sand it in. All right, so this is ready. Just make sure there's excess. Sometimes I go over the board, I use like a can air, just blast all the thing off, but nobody, just wipe it off. Yeah. All right, good. So now this is ready to be glued. So yeah, let's do backhand first, right? So first layer of glue, you want a generous amount because firstly, once again, the sponge on here will soak it a little bit, and also the blade itself will soak the glue up a little bit. So the first layer, you want to have a lot. This much, right? It's okay to have more rather than less, right? Once again, the glue I use is Rev 3. Normal, odorless. Actually still smells a little bit, but not as bad as non-odorless. Those things smells like ammonia, straight up. So I want to spread it evenly. Do it pretty fast so it doesn't clump. And since I am using normal viscosity, the lowest one, I have plenty of time to spread this evenly without being dry and getting clumped. So just make sure you get a layer going. So the second layer, you can have a little bit. So I do 2 layer on the blade because this is very thin. So 1 layer of 2 layer of that is like 1 layer of what national teams in China uses, like what DHS 15, the Taku Fine Zip, and some of the butterfly players uses Free Check too. But this is very thin compared to that. So 2 layers, like 1.5 is like 1 layer of those. So I'm gonna have 2 layers to have the glue very even, right? You want this to be very even. So that's one on the blade, and also now for better adhesion, I'm gonna put 1 more layer on the rubber. Make sure for the best adhesion, you wait at least 30 minutes. Once again, at least 30 minutes before gluing it on. You want the glue to be completely dry and then to have the best adhesion, right? You don't want the rubber to like be peeling off the blade. That's really bad. You have to redo everything. right? So same thing like in part 2 of this long series, that you just keep like spread it pretty fast. Sometimes this glue, you can see it's a little bit wet, so I'm gonna keep on brushing it like this until this is all very even. The glue is drying itself, so if you keep on doing this, it's gonna get drier and it's gonna be spread very evenly in the process. Okay, I'm gonna keep on doing this for like another 30 seconds or less to make sure the glue is very, very even. Please watch part 2 on the rubber, how I prepared it, how I boosted, and it's 3 layers of glue, 1 layer of Haifu Black for tensors and cake sponge, hybrid, whatever. All right, so you can see how even this is. So this is the forehand, and also I'm gonna do the backhand here. Resandher C 48, yeah, 48 or 47, I don't remember. I use Hurricane 3, so I don't know any of this tensor stuff. Yeah, fairly fast to make sure everything is even. Right, and then medium speed, go along like this. Once again, I am palming the rubber because I've been doing this for years and I have a big hand, and pros kind of makes you look like a pro. I don't know. All right. Yeah, keep on spreading it. Like, you want it to be as even as possible, right? So this is kind of tedious, right? I only put 1 layer on here. So it will take like 1 to 2 hours for each of these rubbers to dry while I keep on gluing on the blade. So like once again, for the blade and the rubber, 30 minutes, right? Be patient. 30 minutes, and then another layer on the blade, put this on, cut it. The other side, 2 layers, 30 minutes interval each, and then put a forehand rubber on. All right, let's see you guys in 30 minutes. All right, so it's been 30 minutes. Time to apply the second layer of glue on the backhand. This time I don't need that much because there's already glue on it, and the blade is not gonna soak too much of the glue in. So very thin layer is fine. The point of this for me is to make sure it's very even, right? I want the rubber to be very evenly attached on the blade. So just go over it very, very fast, and yeah, make sure to get everything. Okay. All right, good. All right, see you guys another 30 minutes, and then put the backhand rubber on. All right, now it's time to put the backhand rubber on. So for this, I used a cylinder. This is a water cup. I don't know what this is. I got this for $3. And curved scissors from Revolution 3. Very useful, right? For cutting the rubber. So you're gonna put this on the edge of a table. Resandher C48. You're gonna line this. So there's a dot here. You wanna line this in the middle. Perfectly, like so. Make sure it's even on both sides, and hold it, and then use the cylinder to gently roll it. Do not stretch the rubber. That's why you roll gently forward like this. I'm not stretching the rubber so it won't shrink too much when I take it off, for reasons. Usually you don't for ESN rubbers because you're probably not going to reboost this anyways. You're going to ruin the rubber if you keep on reboosting. So just go back and forth like this once you're done to make sure this is attached very well. And then I personally just go along the edges with my finger to make sure the edges are secure before I cut it. Go along with it again. Make sure the edges are fully glued on. Since I used 400 grit sandpaper sanded, I'm not too worried. Yeah, so now it's time to cut. So are there any secrets to cutting? Not really. You use this curved scissors this side, cut along the edges. I would say you go medium speed. Do not go too slow nor too fast. So I'm just gonna go. You want the curved side to be along with the blade, and just go for it. Right? Like cut with conviction. Don't be scared. Just go. You've probably done this in elementary school, so it's the same thing. With this curved scissors, it's very easy to cut, even though this blade is probably dull now because I've been using it for 4+ years. 5 years probably. I got this in 2017 or something. So just cut along the edges like this. Make sure it's like a one cut, right? You want to just go along, chug along. Go for it. That's really there it is to it. There's no like technique or anything. Like make sure the curved side go along the edges and just cut. Right? Medium speed, I would say. Okay. That's not good because I stopped, but you want this to be a one continuous cut or as close to that as possible. There we go. Done. So I won't say this is my best cut, but I'll take it. Right? As you can see here, not too bad, right? You can always cheat with sandpaper. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so this is how to cheat, right? So you inspect the edges. I cut this side perfectly. So you can see right here, I kind of went over just a tiny bit, right? If you are extremely OCD, you can use a 200 grit sandpaper or less and just go over it, right? Make sure to go over the rubber. Go on the edge first on this side, on the red side. Go like this. This kind of works well with tensor or cake sponge rubbers. It doesn't work quite well with very hard, like 50-something degrees rubber and Hurricane 3s. If you have Hurricane 3, just ignore doing this. You're done, pretty much. Yeah, so you just go put some force into it. Make sure you're not touching the blade too much. You don't want to sand the blade down. So yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, it looks good. So now I'm gonna use the 400 grit sandpaper. Just make sure the rubber is smooth on this side. And then you're gonna take the excess glue and rubber off. Thing is pretty tacky, you know, the Resander C50, Resander C. You can hear it, it's tacky. Anyways, yeah, so this is how you cheat if you didn't cut perfectly and you have OCD, right? Sometimes I do this. Anyway, so if there's rubber stuck inside the pimples, you can use canned air to blast it away, like so. There's not much stuck in here, but oh well. Looks good. There's excess glue. You can use your shirt. Just take it off. Not that much problem. You can see the rubber is really on the blade because of the 400 grit sandpaper went over. So this is not coming off, right? Yeah, this is not coming off at all. So yeah, basically perfectly cut. And now we're gonna do the forehand. And I'm gonna take this, put this on. Forehand, generous amount first layer because both of this sponge and the blade will soak a lot of the glue. So make sure you put a generous amount so it doesn't dry up too fast and clump on you. Perfect. And after I'm done with this, another 30 minutes. And then do one more layer on the forehand side and put the forehand rubber on. All right, awesome. See you guys in 30 minutes again. All right, it's been 30 minutes, so now the final glue layer of this entire series. We used a lot of glue layers, right? Yeah. So, last glue layer on the base. So the second one, you can't skip this if you have a thicker glue and you think that one layer is even enough on the blade. For me, this glue is very, very thin, so I want to make sure this is as flat as possible. So that's why I use 2. Also, I know it's tedious the way I do it. You can do less glue layers, just copying CNT and the years of experience I have gluing. So yeah, and also I'm really over the top in terms of like equipment and stuff. Maybe I should care less. I don't know. All right, the last and final glue layer. I'm gonna put this glue away, see how even it is, and I'm gonna put the forehand rubber on. See you guys in 30 minutes. All right, now it's time for the final assembly. Here's our Sounder C53. Yeah, okay. Put a nice light here. Shine it. Cylinder, of course. We have the Revolution 3 scissors again, and sandpaper to cheat if they mess up. So, along the table again, there's a dot on it. Most rubber will have an arrow pointing, and put it smack in the middle of the blade. Push it down. Secure the bottom with a thumb. Hold it, and then gently roll forward. Gently, you don't want any air bubbles going. You don't want to stretch it. You don't want the rubber to shrink when you re-glue, but this is ESN, like I said, you don't re-glue this normally. All right, and then once you're secured, you're gonna roll over it slowly, a little bit harder. Looks good. Make sure to get the edges. Okay. Oh yeah, this thing is tacky. This thing is sticking on the table. Make sure the side is good. The edges are secured. Okay, time to cut again. Like I said, there's not really any special like secrets in cutting. You just go along the edges with this curved scissors. Once again, it's a Rev 3 scissors and medium speed. Go. Once again, you gotta go for it. If you hesitate, you kind of screw up, right? You want this to be one continuous motion. I still screw up sometimes, but like I said before, I have sandpaper to cheat if I really do screw up really bad. Go along the edges. Wish the scissors a little sharper, but oh well. It is what it is. Too lazy to buy a new one. Alright. So let's see how I did. Little bit here. And I screwed up a little bit here, as you can see. I mean, you probably can't even see it. Yeah, a little bit. So once again, sandpaper to the rescue. You want this side go first. Normally, like the rubber is excess, right? Excessive rubber. So yeah, so this is Resaunter 53. C53 is harder. So it's very hard to sand it down. No, it's working actually. Okay. All right, that looks okay. Here, a little bit. Yeah, here, not too much. All right, I'm gonna wipe this down with my shirt. I'm gonna wipe this down with my shirt. The excess glue. All right, I have cleaned the excess glue off on the edges. As you can see here, all the excess glue is off. And you can see, you can shine a light. You can see how even this is. There's no air bubbles. Yep. So yeah, this is it. This is how I assemble the blade. So usually now, I try to hear the sound of this. Oh yes. This is all wood blade, by the way. I just want to see how this sounds. Wait 1 second. I'm just gonna hit the ball really hard. See what this sounds. This is a backhand. Oh my god. Forehand? Yeah. Sounds really loud. And this is a Peter Cobalt 5-ply wood, by the way. So yeah, that's how I glue it. So now since this is a kind of a hybrid rubber, tacky rubber, I put this the protective sheet back on. Usually the last step I do is I put this back on. You can use the cylinder again. Roll it on there. Oh, oops. Okay, make sure there's no air bubble. Roll it on there. And I use a hardcover textbook and put on top of this overnight. And the next day, it's completely done and you play with it, right? So that is it. Thank you all for watching. And bye.